All right, let's get into this. It is Monday morning. We got our coffee. Let's go over some of these games, pick out some fantasy notes, pick out some people to pick up. Let's start with the Bucks and the Falcons. All right, this game, I guessed it wrong. I did really bad this week on my guesses, and all the games were really close, and teams just made terrible decisions. So this one came down to the wire. I picked Tampa Bay. Tampa looked good. They did. They need to do something about this running game real bad. Like, Tampa, I know, like, 10 carries, 7 yards, but that's only because he busted out a big one. He had a 56-yard run. Tampa, up until that point, was doing awful. Bucky is clearly better than Rachaad White, but, like, as a whole, their running game is bad. Baker likes to move. Like, this is, like, 4 out of 5 games now that he's had, like, plus 20 rushing yards, so the receivers look good. You know, Mike Evans went for 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin got the ball. They spread the ball around good. And this is with a really banged up receiving core. They only had like 4 receivers at this thing. And Tampa's defense, Kirk Cousins picked that sumbitch apart. Cousins absolutely balled out. This is what I was talking about prior to when we were talking about this, when I said that, like, Atlanta had all the pieces, I just didn't know when they were going to get them put together. They put them some bitches together. Like, Cousins balled out. They looked great. Their running game did lack a little bit, like, but they threw it. Darnell Mooney is a must-add. Like, I said this weeks ago that he is easily one of Cousins', like, I know he fed London. He did. And Kyle Pitts. But, like, he had 16 targets to Mooney. Mooney is absolutely Kirk Cousins' safe throw. Like, that is who he looks for. Mooney is a must-add. He needs to be on somebody's team for sure in fantasy. He is a must-add. If he's on the free agency, go pick him up right now. You're going to have to fight for him now because now he balled out. He had fucking 100 yards, 2 tutties. But must add. Atlanta looks good. If Atlanta can hold this, because they got a good run defense. If Cousins and London and Mooney and Pitts can stay on this page together, and even Ray McLeod, I would say he's another must add. Because, like, if Cousins is going to spread the ball around like this, like, this is what I was talking about. Like, if they could get the pieces to go together, Atlanta is a dangerous team. Kirk Cousins he's a baller, man. He did it in Minnesota. He did it in Washington. He averages like 350 yards, you know, a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Like, he is a baller. He's not always clutch in the end. He clutched up here on Thursday night. It was impressive. I was happy to see it. So, coming out of this, like, Bucky Irving, I'm sure, you know, we talked about him a couple weeks ago. Everybody's added him. Otton, maybe. I'm not overly sold on Otton, but, like, Mooney needs to be added. Ray McLeod should, in deeper leagues, I would say Ray McLeod, but Darnell Mooney should no longer be floating around in free agency. All right, Jets and the Vikings. Let's go, baby. We 5-0. We 5-0. Get it. This B-Flow defense, Brian Flores' defense on the Vikings is no joke. They have shown time and time again now against San Francisco, against Houston, against Aaron Rodgers, against Green Bay. Like, they can stop veterans. They can stop high-powered offense. They can stop, you know, 3 receivers, run game, doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers, he didn't look great. And then he bent his knee and then came back in. That was kind of weird. Like, he looked like he was in a lot of pain, got off, and then, like, came right back on the field. I'm starting to panic on Breece Hall. Like, just as a whole, like, they're not giving him the ball. You know, they're still splitting with, like, there was only 14 carries in this game. At that point, Breece should have just had all of them. So, it is time to start maybe panicking on Breece Hall. This is nuts, though. Garrett Wilson, 22 targets, is fucking crazy. I would say Tyler Conklin, also, he's an ad. I would pick him up. He seems to be a safety net for. He runs a lot of underneath. Aaron Rodgers likes to just dump it off to him. I mean, he had 9 targets, 6 catches. He's an ad, especially because tight ends have not been that great this year. But Garrett Wilson, like, this is the kind of production we thought we could get out of Garrett Wilson if him and Rodgers can get on the same page with one another. Because if they're on the same page, like, Wilson can fucking eat. He is very athletic. He's very talented. Otherwise, I'm going to say just out of this, these top guys, Garrett Wilson, Conklin, Lazard, are worth having. Everybody else, not really. This worries me. The whole New York rushing scheme fucking worries me. On the Minnesota side, I hope Aaron Jones is okay. I did not like seeing him go down. Our offense would have been probably a lot more fluent with him out there. That being said, the Vikings defense did great. I will say I wish we would have got away from this, right? Like, I agree. You need to feed Justin Jefferson. He is our main piece. But you know what? There was a point in this game where, like, he was just covered. They were doubling him. They had him locked up and whatever. Like, feed somebody else. And not just Addison. Like, where's Naylor on here? Why didn't Naylor get the ball? There was multiple times that Naylor was open and they tried to feed it to Addison or Jefferson. Like, let's stick to what we've been doing and make sure we stay with hit the open guy. Take the efficiency pass. Don't try to make the fucking play. If it's not there, it's not there. That's fine. Take the underneath. We have an amazing defense. I don't think there's anybody else to add out of here, fantasy-wise, but yeah. But we got the W. That is what counts. Panthers in this game, I don't know what the fuck happened in this game. Like, what happened to Andy Dalton, man? Holy shit. Like, and I'll give it to him. Chicago's defense is no joke. Like, as bad as they started out, Chicago's defense is no joke. It was great to see Caleb kind of show up in this. I've been hating on Caleb for weeks now. But I will say the young man showed up. 20 for 29, 304 yards. He hit him. He looked good. And a lot of it I feel like has to do with that DeAndre Swift started to show up. Because when you have that strong running game, it opened, like, then teams can't just sneak their safeties up and just stuff the box with fucking, 8-9 guys. And that just opens it up for the passing game more. Like, run game matters. As much as the NFL wanted to get away from it and start to go towards this, like, pass-heavy offenses, you need the run game. So, like, as long as Swift can keep going, Caleb should... He'd be all right. I'm not going to say he's going to produce. I'm not going to say he's going to pop off, but, like, he's going to be okay. I don't know what happened with Dalton. Like, Deontay Johnson, like, these numbers are broken as shit. I don't know what the fuck happened. Chuba did his thing, but, oh, God. But I don't know what happened in this game with Deontay. Like, their offense was awful, and their defense was awful, which is another reason we're not going to... Caleb Williams, great job, but... You beat the Carolina Panthers defense. Like, it's one of the worst defenses in the NFL. It was great to see DJ Moore pop off. We need to see that. Like, many, many people drafted this man in, like, third, fourth round. So it's great to see him starting to show up. So, coming out of this, Chuba Hubbard should be on somebody's team. He probably already is. Mingo showed up here. Xavier showed up last week. I don't know that there's anybody to really add coming out of this game as a waiver pickup. Like, nothing crazy. Maybe Roshan. Roshan really seemed to eat down in the red zone. So, possibly a Roshan Johnson if you're really hurting on a running back. Especially if you had... give me a second. Hold on. Devon Achane. If you had Achane, like, maybe go grab Roshan. Just try as a fill-in. Where are we at? Oh, man, this was a great game. I watched this motherfucker from start to finish, and this was a fantastic game. Both teams showed the fuck up here. Both offenses. This was a back and forth, hard hitting. This was a great game. Derrick Henry was real slow. His numbers were awful until he busted off that 51-yard run in OT. Like, his numbers were terrible, like, which was impressive. I will say, I'll give it to Cincinnati defense. They did a great job holding Derrick Henry, which is what they needed to do to stay in this game. I will say the Bengals choked at the fucking end. They choked it out. They should have won. Evan McPherson missing that field goal at the end was a joke. Dude, like, I know Mark Andrews popped right at the end here. He got, 55 yards or whatever, but like I'm sticking to my guns. I don't want anything to do with Mark Andrews. If he was on my team, if you can get anything out of him, trade his motherfucking ass away. Nope. Mike Gesicki, I still don't think he's. The problem is I thought Mike Gesicki would be here, right? I thought he was going to be maybe the number 3 target in this offense, and he's not. It's this guy right here. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. I've butchered it way too many times. T. Higgins showed up, though. Like, this was great to see. The Jamar Chase, T. Higgins show showed back up, and it went to go. This also is something I predicted at the beginning of the year, like 4 weeks ago. I said by about week 5, week 6, Chase Brown was going to start out-snapping Zach Moss, which is exactly what happened. Chase Brown is going to take over as the main back for this. He's just so explosive. I'm not saying Moss won't still have something to do with it. Most teams are running a committee. So that being said, worth noting that Chase Brown, like, if you have Zach Moss, start now, because he's still going to be at this split handoff. Start now to try to find somebody else to swap out with him. I like Justice Hill. I know he didn't overly produce in this one. He had 5 carries for 17 rushes, 2 targets. They didn't really have to dump the ball off a whole lot in this game. So, but this was such a good game. Like, Lamar balled out. He looked good, but dude, it was so good to see Joey B show up again. Like, the Bengals have this notion of being a team that they start out slow, right? They're 0-2, 0-3, but man, dude, week 4, week 5, week 6, like, watch out for Cincinnati. They start to their pieces come together after a few weeks. So this was a tough one. It was hard for me to. I called Cincinnati to win this game, and it was so fucking close. But congrats to Baltimore and pulling it out, and Cincinnati choking again in front of you. This game, too. This was such a shithole game. I took the Patriots just because look at this, man. Like, they ran the ball 41 times. Like, that's outrageous. To 18 passing. Like, this whole game was just a disaster. The only thing you need to take away from this is that Devon Achane got hurt, and that being the case, you need to look into, like, a Raheem Mostert or a Jalen Wright. I'm not, like, he's in concussion protocol, so he probably will not play next week. So Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert are going to be waiver pickups for sure, just being that, like, they're playing. I don't expect huge numbers out of anybody in this. Like, I don't like anybody on fucking Miami. 0. I don't like anybody on New England, to be honest with you, because these teams are awful. Ramondre kind of popped off here. He had 12 carries, 89 yards. He got that touchdown, but really only because he ran that 33-yard tutty in. Like, that's the only reason he popped off in fantasy. Otherwise, nobody in here was worth a damn. Like, not a single fucking none of these motherfuckers. All right, what are we looking at now? Browns and Commanders. This, I did pick right, but only because this man's a problem. Deshaun Watson needs to go. They need to just put Winston in. Like, it's time. I'm calling it. It is time to put Watson away. You made a bad choice. That sucks. Eat it and fucking move on. Winston, it's time to go move on to Jameis Winston. It is time to just move on as a whole. Because this dude, like, you have so much talent here. Like, you have Jerome Ford, who's been doing good. And Nick Chubb has started practicing last week, so you're going to get him back in the next couple weeks. You have Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy solid. You just got David Njoku back. Elijah Moore is an amazing slot receiver that they don't utilize enough. Like, you have weapons, you have things to work with, and you have Myles Garrett and stuff on the defense. Like, you have a good team. This man is ruining it. He is ruining it for Cleveland. Jaden Daniels, on the other hand, man, people want to believe They want to believe that, oh, Jaden Daniels, generational player. Like, is he? Is he? I don't know. Let's, hold on one second here. We are going to pull up the Commanders' schedule. All right, so the Commanders' schedule. So they lost to the Bucks, so solid team, right? But they were in it. They lost 37-20, but I don't know that they were in it. Then they barely beat out the Giants. The Giants are not good. They're not. So 21-18, they beat out the Giants. Then they beat the Bengals. That's kind of impressive. But the Bengals don't have, look back at the Bengals. They don't have a good defense. So, crappy defense. Then they beat the Cardinals, who have a crappy defense. And then they beat the Browns, who have a crappy defense. Okay, after next week, if Jaden Daniels can go out and ball out against Baltimore, all right, we'll start to maybe see about getting a ticket to this train. But, until then, because, after that, he's got to go play the Panthers. I'm sure he'll ball out. The Bears, I'll be interested to see how he can play. Because the Bears' defense, like I've stated many times, they're no joke. They're not their defense is solid. So, Jaden Daniels, he is winning games. And great for Washington. You're 4-1. You're looking good. Go get Davante Adams. Just saying. I've said it many times. But, I don't know if I can buy into it. I don't know if I can buy into this whole rookie sensation thing when the teams that you've beaten are terrible defense teams. Great job. I mean, he looks great. I love that, he's making the reads and stuff like that. He wasn't quite as efficient in this one, but he's making the reads. I don't like that his running number keeps going up. I think that's bad for Washington. They should try to pull him back to throw the fucking ball. If you're going to run, you have Austin Eckler. You have B-Rob. You have other options to throw the ball. Don't run it. Not unless you have to. Terry McLaurin, he seems to really like him. I like what Washington's got cooking right now. I wouldn't say anybody is a go grab them right now. They're a must add. I'm not going to say any of that. But I like what Washington's cooking. I will be very interested in seeing what week 6 brings for Jaden Daniels when he's got to go play against Baltimore. And I will be curious actually when he plays the Bears and the Steelers as well. I want to see you play against a hard fucking defense. Hard nose, good safeties. Can you still throw the rock? Or are you going to throw, 2 picks, touchdown, go for 150 yards? So we will see coming out of that. Great job, though. I love what Washington's got cooking right now. Oh, this game was a heartbreaker, too. I watched this game, too, and it just broke my heart. Oh, God. Flacco looked good, man. He started out slow, but, God, he got it going. He did. They really, the Colts, I know I called this, and I said if Joe Flacco starts, they're going to beat Jacksonville, and I'll eat the L. I will. But when I said that, too, I didn't anticipate Jonathan Taylor not to play, because I think if Taylor's in this game goes differently. Because Trey Sermon did not, none of their running backs ran the rock good. None of them. Although, I will say, Joe Flacco, yeah, to note, he snuck out a 21-yard run, which was super impressive for his age. Good for you, buddy. I loved it. As long as Joe Flacco's in here, I'm going to say Josh Downs, Alec Pitts, and Adnan Mitchell. All these guys should be rostered. All of them. You can go pick these guys up. Now, are they going to pop off every single week? No. But with Joe Flacco he slings the rock, man. As long as Joe Flacco's in there, Colts wide receivers are okay to grab and pop into a quick flex play going through all the bye weeks coming up here, because I know that's when people are going to have to need people and stuff. On the Jacksonville side, I picked the Colts. I love Jacksonville. I love Trevor Lawrence. I'm a fan. This is concerning. Again, ETN, he's such a good running back, and I don't know what's going on here and why Bigsby's out snapping him. Not that I don't like Tank Bigsby, but that's a problem. Then you get into here, dude. B. Thomas. B. Thomas is going to be, he's up there. He is up there with your Marvin Harrisons, your Malik Neighbors. I mean, he's just a notch under, but man, he looks good. I really, really enjoy this kid. Christian Kirk still balling out. He's still clearly like a favorite throw for Lawrence. And like this is where ETN got into it, but like I don't like that ETN, like they're going kind of just passing guy for him. So that's concerning. Gabe Davis sucks. Brenton Strange, he went 4 for 4. I'd like to see him get more involved. I think he really has the potential to be a good tight end. But we're gonna watch list him. We're gonna put him on the watch list and just keep it. If Tank Bigsby is on the waiver, go grab him. Like go get Tank if he is there, because I know a lot of people dropped him. If he's floating around out there, Tank Bigsby is an ad on the waiver. I need to be writing these down, and I'm not. I'm just not good at my job here. All right. But yeah, if Tank's out there, go grab him, because like this isn't the first time he's outsnapped ETN. This was another great game to watch. I am sad that the Colts lost because I thought they would win it, but like they did an admirable job. Great job for like not having their star player out there, Jonathan Taylor. And for Jacksonville, great job on picking up your first W and beating, putting up points. So it's good to see your offense go to work because your offensive line is awful. This game too, this was just horrible play calling again by the Buffalo Bills. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, kick the fucking field goal. What are you doing? But instead, give the ball back to CJ Stroud, who was hot, by the way. He was looking damn good. This team played just how I thought it would. They looked great. Stephon Diggs did his thing. I mean, Diggs produced more than I thought he would, just based on the fact that, like, Nico obviously hurt his hamstring. That being said, if Tank Dell is out there, go grab him because Collins could miss some time. Just being that with him getting hurt here. Cam Akers, he did all right. See, this guy, I'm not gonna butcher his name. We're just gonna call him Dare. None of these running backs are gonna matter just because as of right now, Joe Mixon will be back. I'm hoping he's back this week, but we'll see what this brings. I'm not touching anybody in this clusterfuck of a fucking receiving core other than Dalton Kincaid's all right. Mac Hollins, maybe. Buffalo's, I don't know what's going on with their play calling. They came out the door so hot. Their first couple games, they looked so fucking good, and now they're just choking hard. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. Houston though, Houston's picking up right where I thought they would. I did guess this one right, because these guys, they don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, the only person on the Vegas that is worth anything is Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is worth having and moving with. Everybody else, just don't even bother. It's not even worth your time. Denver, man, I'm going to kind of say the same thing. I just don't know that anybody on Denver is worth a shit. Like, their running back is their leading receiver because he just dumps it off. Javonte Williams, I guess, like, if somebody dropped him, you could look at picking him up just because, like, you can see he was clearly the main running back. He ran for 60 yards, which is nothing impressive, but then he had 5 receptions for 50 yards, which puts him at like 10 points, but neither of these teams have anything going on. Congratulations on Bo Nix for getting another W, but again, you're beating terrible, terrible teams. I don't know how the Niners dropped this game. I don't. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Especially because the Cardinals, what is going on with Marvin Harrison? Like, dude, get your shit together, dog. 7 targets, you catch the ball twice. Like, Michael Wilson, if he's out there, go get him. Like, clearly he has a role in this offense, which is great to see. I'm a big fan of Michael Wilson. So add Michael Wilson. And this. I don't know how the Niners dropped this. Brandon Ayuk apparently still living because like he showed up. He just popped off and like nobody else. So I don't know if everybody just forgot that Ayuk is like athletic or what the hell was going on here, but Arizona, I mean, congrats on pulling out the W against the Niners, but like, yeah, I can't believe the Niners dropped this game. Like, that shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened. Like, Niners need to take a good look at how they are letting these teams sneak by them like that. Green Bay, I did call this game correctly. Green Bay showed up. They were slow to start, but they did start. See, this is a huge thing for Green Bay. Like, get the rock to Jacobs, get Jacob moving. So Jordan Love doesn't have to throw the ball 45 fucking times. Jaden Reed looked really good. He's clearly the number one in this. Wicks, I would have thought would have been better. I do like Tucker Kraft. I will say I would add Tucker Kraft. Like, Tucker Kraft is an ad as a tight end. He's had back-to-back weeks now where Jordan Love feeds him. As long as Jordan Love is in, he seems to like Tucker Kraft on the underneath routes, kind of the same way that Conklin is. Like, Conklin was the other one that he runs that underneath drag route, and like they get fed. I was sad that I do like the Rams. Matthew Stafford did what he could here. It's just so hard. Like, he's missing. Even if he just had Cooper Kupp or just had Puka, this is a very different story. But like, just not having your real receiving core. I mean, you can see like he threw the ball everywhere. Kyren Williams is the fucking answer though. This dude is just a goddamn truckload. Like, he just does not stop. Coming out of here though, I want to like these guys, but I'm not going to tell you to add any of them. Going into the bye week, I guess potentially like Tutu Atwell is you could, if you need a wide receiver, you could pick him up. But I'm not an overly huge fan just because the Rams are so hit and miss with this. The Giants and the Seahawks. I can't this one too. I can't believe the Seattle Seahawks dropped this. Like, and it was this right here. This is what fucking killed them. Like, and props to the New York Giants. Like, they do have a good front four, but like they could not move the rock at all on the ground, which killed them. They needed this so bad. Like, especially Kenneth Walker, who's averaging like 89 yards to 100 yards a game. And even when Zach Charbonnet was in there, he killed it on the ground. So, like, you can't depend on Geno to just throw the rock. Like, it is not going to work. You can't, like, 11 carries is unacceptable. This needs to be at minimum 25, 30 runs. At a minimum, if you want this to work. But congrats to Daniel Jones for making it work, right? Like, Daniel Jones, I will say, he's another one that is worth picking up. Like, he's starting to ball out. He's starting this offense. They're kind of like the Atlanta Falcons, and it is coming together. They are figuring this out. Tyrone Tracy looked great. And Singletary better watch it. Tyrone Tracy is a must-add for sure. He looked great in Singletary's absence, and Singletary better watch out, like, because this kid was explosive. Yeah, Darius Slayton looked good. Wan'Dale Robinson looked good. Like, he spread this ball around. Like, even with no Malik Neighbors out there, New York looked good. Like, their pieces came together. So that being said, like, that's great. And like, I like all these guys. I love Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker, DK, Jackson Smith. Like, they just couldn't. You need this. Seattle needs their running game. All right, I know we're coming to the end here. Yeah, Cowboys and the Steelers. I did not watch this whole game. Obviously, it got very, very delayed. It got really late. I had to get up and get kids to school and whatnot. Cowboys won. I thought Pittsburgh would pull this out. I thought Pittsburgh's defense was going to be able to contain this. Justin Fields, he looked all right. He tried to stay as efficient as he could here, right? Like, he didn't throw for a ton of yards. It was good to see this. This is kind of on the lower end. I would have liked to see them feed Najee a little bit more, but they didn't get it. I called Jalen Tolbert last week. I said go get him because there was no Brandon Cooks, which meant he was the number 2, and it played out exactly like that. Jake Ferguson looked good. Even Turpin looked pretty good in this. Dallas also is kind of starting to get it to come together. And it had to do with this, right? Like, look at this. Dallas wins. They ran for almost 100 yards. They did. I mean, 109. But, like, you know, their main Rico put up 87 yards rushing. When that happens, it frees it up for Dak. Like, running is so fucking relevant. Like, I don't know why teams get away from it. So, coming out of this, yeah, I'm not going to tell you to pick up anybody here. Jalen Tolbert if he's still on the waiver, he's worth adding. Only if Brandon Cooks is going to miss time, though. If Cooks is coming back, then he's not worth grabbing. And that is the last game. That was the Sunday night game. We didn't do great predicting. Obviously, a lot of these games were, you know, like this was lost in OT. We got this. This one was just apparently a bad read. I thought Andy Dalton would be able to handle this Bears defense. He couldn't. This one lost in OT. This one was just, I don't know what happened here. I'll just chalk it up to a bad read. We got this right. This one came down to the wire. You know, this one came down to the wire and was a bad play call by the Bills. We got that right. This one also came down to the wire. Cardinals made a comeback right at the end. We called that right. This was just bad play calling the whole fucking game by Seattle, and this one came down to the wire. Those happen. We went 4-9 this week, which is not great, but I will do another one just talking about fantasy football ads and drops. But that's the week 5 recap. We got Monday Night Football tonight, where we got the Saints and the Chiefs. I do have the Chiefs for this, but I do think it's going to be close. Like, the Chiefs are pretty banged up.